Geniuses and talented learners are the two main classifications of players within Blue Lock that shape the mindset and styles of each character. Thanks to the analysis of Kaiser, Loki, Noah, and Rin, Isagi is able to understand these classifications, which help form the originality that will roar across the world. But what if I told you that his analysis isn't actually correct? Or I guess a better statement would be, what if I told you that his analysis isn't complete? Well, in today's video, I'll be going through the classification of geniuses and talented learners, not only revising what they are, but also revealing a third classification that Isagi has yet to understand. Before I get into the video though, I want to leave a spoiler warning for the current chapters of the manga, and if you are not caught up to the latest releases, I would suggest clicking off this video now. I also have a Discord server called the Neo Egoist Geeks, which you should totally join. The link to that is down below. Now before I can explain how Isagi's analysis is wrong, I should first start by talking about his analysis in general and what he determined to be correct. Thanks to the breakdown of both Rin and Kaiser's styles in particular, with some additions of Noah and Loki, Isagi is able to identify the main two classifications for a player's unique style. These classifications are called geniuses and talented learners. Geniuses, by Isagi's description, are those with unique weapons or mutations that impact the current state of the soccer field. These players are those who transcend basic logic through indomitable plays. By disregarding typical and standard logic, geniuses live and play by following their natural impulses and desires on the field, which naturally allows for them to become the center of the football world. Ego describes it by saying, humans born with traits that others lack have a hard time being understood and live difficult lives. But that might be a gene that will cause humanity to evolve. Those areas of differentiation produce unique expressions of body and mind, and there are some people who can cast those expressions out into the world. And amidst them, there are revolutionary expressions which are suitable for the era and circumstances, and these can change the world's standards. The ones with those seeds are what I call geniuses. By that description, players like Rin, Shido, Nagi, Bachira, and Baro are all examples of players who fit this genius classification. On the other hand, there are players who do not fit this criteria and instead serve another, and these people are called talented learners. Talented learners are not those with unique physical abilities, but rather those whose strength is relegated to their brain and information processing. By grasping the field and the information coming from it, talented learners can calculate the plays made by fellow talented learners or geniuses to develop counters or offensive strategies. These are plays made by adapting and understanding that which the world centers itself around. And this is where the ego types of self and world style come in, but we can hold off mentioning those for now. Ego again assists us by providing his definition of a talented learner. But to present society, that innovation is never something that a genius can achieve on their own. Someone needs to discover the seed, comprehend its worth, and be able to communicate it to the world. By boosting its feasibility and reproducibility, they turn it into a new world standard. The ones who do that are called talented learners. By this description, players like Isagi, Reo, Karasu, Charles, and Hiyori are all talented learners. To put it simply, those with the power to change the world are geniuses, but those who can truly grasp their talent in order to impact the world are talented learners. Each style of player is not inherently better than the other, as geniuses cannot perform at their best if not for talented learners, and talented learners cannot shine without the presence of geniuses. However, when talking about both geniuses and talented learners, Isagi believes that these two classifications are all that there is. It's very black and white thinking. However, I don't personally believe that to be the case. I think that there has been a secret third classification that has been right in front of us the entire time. Before getting into that though, if you are enjoying this video so far, leave me a like and subscribe down below to see more awesome Blue Lock content just like this. And if you want to become a member of the channel, you will unlock some awesome perks, including custom video requests and shoutouts in videos. All of the funding goes towards the Blue Lock New World movies, so if you want to share your support, become a member. When talking about both talented learners and geniuses, I don't inherently agree with Isagi or Ego's explanation. Sure, I do agree that talented learners and geniuses do exist. However, I do believe that rather you being one or the other, this classification lies on a spectrum. Now this theory comes into play from a buddy of mine named Raven Geeks, so go check out his content because he makes some really fun and entertaining videos. But going into the spectrum aspect of this, there are characters who fit both the genius and talented learner classification. For example, I don't believe that Isagi is inherently a talented learner at 100%. I feel like he does somewhat lean into the genius margin by like a 70-30, with the majority obviously being talented learner. Within the Isagi light novel, and even mentioned in the anime partially, Isagi has always had such a high level of spatial awareness. As a kid, not only was he able to sense rain before it actually fell, but he actually became overstimulated by it and began to cry. He also had the ability and spatial awareness to sense a mosquito from an incredible distance away. This, to me, is definitely a mutation that would classify him as a genius. However, because the mutation is just simply heightened awareness, it doesn't necessarily place him in the genius category. I think that this statement could apply to other characters in the series as well, for example, Ryo. The incredible dexterity that he possesses isn't something that can be attributed to anyone, not even other talented learners. As for the third classification that I mentioned, I believe that third classification is something known as hybrids. Now, Raven Geeks uses the term prodigies, however I'm just going to stick with the term hybrids for now. Hybrids are the classification of players whose overall style of play and mindset place them close to the 50-50 margin. This only works, of course, if the genius and talented learner classifications apply to a spectrum. An example of someone like this would be Kaiser. Now, I'm aware that even Isagi identified Kaiser as a talented learner, but there's still a lot of evidence which contributes to him being somewhat of a genius. The first is his unique shooting style, that being the Kaiser Impact. The Kaiser Impact, despite being labeled as a weapon that Kaiser created because he is a talented learner, is not something that other talented learners could create themselves. The actual kick and swing speed is definitely some kind of mutation that Kaiser had developed. We see in his backstory that when fighting against the cops, Kaiser was kicking the shit out of them with his rapid swing speed. And through the development of his swing speed, he was able to add aspects to it like Predator Eye and Metavision that allowed for his shooting style to be more effective. The second aspect is the visual ability known as Predator Eye. When looking at all of the confirmed users of Predator Eye, every single one of them aside from Kaiser is a confirmed genius. So the fact that Kaiser has this ability is kind of interesting to me. And before you say, oh well, Predator Eye isn't exclusive to geniuses, as far as we can see from the confirmed users, it is. The same thing applies for Metavision because it is only possessed by talented learners. So for whatever reason, Kaiser, despite being a talented learner, possesses a genius exclusive vision ability. Doesn't that seem a little bit suspicious? And the final point is the overall implications of Kaiser's performances. When Isagi first saw Kaiser's plays, he considered him to be a genius of higher quality than Bachira, Nagi, and even Rain. And despite Kaiser perfectly embodying Isagi's ideal movements, he said the exact same thing when referring to Rain during their first encounter. With everything mentioned about Kaiser and his overall abilities, I think he fits into a category that is not a genius nor a talented learner. Instead, he seems to fit into a category that is a mix of both, or what I call a hybrid. But that's simply my explanation and breakdown of Isagi's thought process and the concepts of geniuses and talented learners. Now, this video wasn't made to be taken as a, oh, Isagi is totally wrong kind of video. It was more of a theory video based on the information that we have in the series. So you're allowed to agree with me, you're allowed to disagree with me, it's entirely your opinion. But aside from that, I hope you guys did enjoy this video and will continue to enjoy it in the future. Final reminder that if you want to share your support for the Blue Lock movie, you should become a member of the channel or join my Discord server. Both are ways to help support the movie as we continue its production. As for the question of the video though, who else would you consider to be a hybrid in the Blue Lock series? Why or why not? Leave me your thoughts down below in the comment section. And like always, thank you all for watching, like and subscribe to see more awesome Blue Lock content just like this.